All right, what's up, guys? So I found this old fishing boat on Marketplace. Let's go check it out and see if we can make a deal. I don't know about it. Man. Ooh, time to hit the road. Sportcraft. Transom solid. All right, so this is a 1991 Sportcraft 25-foot Fishmaster walk-around cuddy cabin. Man, that's a mouthful. Let's see what we got. Okay. 2 batteries. There's a head in here. The steering cable was locked up. That's a couple $100 right there. Yeah, manifolds. He said I needed the manifolds. Need some chairs. Gonna have to lift the hatches up on the deck and get in there and replace all the fuel hoses where the gas tank is. Okay. I didn't even lift the hatches to check the stringers or anything like that to see if it was rotten or not, because I wasn't even gonna get to that point once I saw it was how it is. Man, this is a big boat. The motor's a Volvo Penta 5.7 V8. It's just a Chevy motor. It's a Chevy 350 basically with a bunch of marine stuff bolted onto it. It's a lot of work. Man, that's looking like a lot more work than I was willing to do. Looks like we got some mouse damage right here. There's a lot of corrosion back here, way more than I was expecting. This is obviously an ocean boat. So I like the walk around part of the boat. You know, you can fish, get around here if you really need to get a fish from the front of the boat, and then you can lay up here and get your tan on when you're done. Let's see what this hatch is looking like. Man, this is gonna be too much work, huh? It's got a nice railing around the boat. You know, give you something nice and strong to hold on to when you're leaning over the side of the boat, seasick as a dog. It's not all bad though. The hole in the deck is in great shape. Man, this thing is looking like a lot of work. Probably too much, that motor. I don't know about it. Some exhaust tubing. It's gonna be too much work for me, man. See what the trailer's looking like. Tandem axles, no trailer brakes. The tires look good and the trailer looks like it's in good shape. Bottom. So I showed up to buy this thing and the price is right, but it's just gonna be way too much work. Looks like a pretty well-built boat. So this whole boat just needs to be gutted and completely refinished at this point. It'd be a pretty cool candidate to rip the stern drive and the inboard out and make a bracket and put the outboard on the back. But even then, it's still gonna be down on power, you know. it's gonna take a good bit of power to move this boat. So if you were gonna completely restore it and go through the engine and the stern drive, it's a saltwater boat, right? Saltwater IOs are not fun to work on. Man, I wish we could have made a deal with them. If it was just in a little bit better shape, we would have been all right. Oh well. It's not like we don't already have enough boats around here to work on. I got this Maxim right here. We're gonna get this thing fixed up. We're gonna go through the whole thing, get it all nice and fixed up. Then of course we got the Manatee over here. Ooh, yeah, needs some work too. That's all right. I love this Evinrude 150 though. All right, here's what to look for and what not to look for when you're buying a used boat. Of course, the motor is the most important thing you want to check. Make sure it's got a good prop. If it's black, it's probably aluminum. If it's shiny, it's probably stainless. You can tell this one's aluminum. This one's stainless. The stainless is heavier. If it's a saltwater boat, check your anodes. If the outboard's got power tilt and trim, you definitely want to check that. Make sure these aren't all nicked up and rusted. If these are all rusted and corroded up, this thing is going to leak like a sieve. You're going to want to check and make sure there's some sealant in between the mounting holes. I mean, it's not really going to tell you much, but at least you know it's there, right? Checking the inside of the transom to see if it's leaking, you know, if it's wet around there. If it's leaking, it's a good sign the transom is soaked. But sometimes it doesn't affect it much, so you want to make sure the transom is nice and solid. I mean, it's not going to tell you much by knocking on it, but you know, if it's got soft spots, then it's rotten, obviously. So a lot of people don't think about this when you're buying a used boat. Saltwater, rust and corrosion, no rot. Freshwater, no rust and corrosion, but rot. Which one do you like more, replacing rotten wood or replacing rusted bolts? Just something to think about when you're buying a used boat. Number one thing when buying a boat motor is check the compression. I got this cheap compression gauge. I normally just show up, screw this in the spark plug holes, and test the compression of any motor I buy, especially outboards. I pop out all the spark plugs and then I just screw it in and test them one by one, write it down. You want them all to be pretty close, like, you know, at least 120 PSI within 10% of each other. But ideally, the higher the better. You know, 150 PSI is great. All right, so this trailer right here doesn't have trailer brakes. You can see it's just got a 2-inch ball coupling. It's got a single axle under it. You see, single axle. You know, it just depends how heavy the boat is to see how many axles you need up under the trailer. This Sportcraft is like 4,000 pounds, so you can see why it has 2 axles on the trailer. It really needs trailer brakes too. So here's a surge brake coupler. I hate these things, but you know, they're a pain to get locked, but once you get them on there, they're fine. But basically the ball goes in here, and when the load compresses, when you come to stop, the whole boat goes this way, the truck stays still, it compresses the brakes and it makes the brakes work. This boat's a single axle too, but it's got a heavier duty axle under it. You can see it's much thicker, much heavier duty leaf springs. You know, you can look at the bottom of the boat too, it's important. Make sure there's no barnacles all over it. Bottom paint's a thing you check out for. You see you got your bottom paint here, it's an ocean boat. And then this is a lake boat, freshwater. There's no bottom paint on the bottom. With this bottom paint, you can drive right up on shore and you won't mess up your gel coat. It's also supposed to cut down on the barnacles and all the growth on the bottom of the boat. Gotta check your cushions too. This ocean boat just needs some pressure washing, but it doesn't have any cushions on it. And this is a lake boat, it's got cushions on it, but the marine fabric, it always comes apart over time. The sun just eats it up. So you need to look out for that too. Gel coat fiberglass oxidation. You can see you got some oxidation here. I won't worry about that too much. You can get in here and buff it out. Wet it down a little bit. You can see it's good under there. You just got to get that film off. So we'll find another boat to work on. You can see we got plenty of stuff to work on right here. I'll check you all in the next one. Later.